Welcome to the Story Lab. I hope you enjoy this story. Let's begin. The bouquet of red roses felt heavy in my hands as I walked through the doors of Lila's office building, the sweet aroma filling my nostrils. A smile crept across my face as I clutched the box of her favorite chocolates. It was our 7th wedding anniversary, and I couldn't wait to see the look of surprise and joy on Lila's face when she saw me. "Good afternoon, Marcus." Brittany, the bubbly receptionist, greeted me with her usual wide grin. "What brings you here today?" "Hey, Brittany," I replied, holding up the roses and the chocolates. "It's our anniversary, and I wanted to surprise my wife with these." Brittany's eyes lit up, and she clasped her hands together. "Ah, that's so romantic. Lila's downstairs in the guest room. I'm sure she'll be thrilled to see you." With a nod of thanks, I made my way towards the elevators, my heart pounding with excitement and anticipation. Lila and I had been through our fair share of ups and downs over the years, but our love had only grown stronger. This surprise was just a small token of my appreciation for the amazing woman she was and the life we had built together. The elevator doors opened with a soft ding, and I stepped out into the dimly lit hallway, following the signs that pointed towards the guest room. As I approached the door, I could hear muffled sounds coming from inside, but I shrugged it off, assuming it was someone watching a video or having a meeting. With a deep breath, I gripped the door handle and pushed it open, eager to see the look on Lila's face. The sight that greeted me was like a punch to the gut, knocking the wind out of me. There, on the couch, was my wife, Lila, straddling her boss, Zachary Preston, both of them stark naked and engaged in an intimate act. They were so engrossed in their lust-filled encounter that they hadn't noticed me enter the room. Time seemed to freeze as I stood there, unable to move or speak. The bouquet of roses slipped from my grasp, petals scattering across the floor like fallen tears. The sound finally caught their attention, and Lila's head whipped around, her eyes widening in shock as she registered my presence. "Marcus!" she exclaimed, scrambling to cover herself with a nearby throw blanket, her cheeks flushing a deep crimson. Anger and betrayal surged through my veins like molten lava, and I clenched my fists so tightly that my knuckles turned white, struggling to maintain my composure in the face of such a devastating betrayal. Without uttering a word, I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone, hitting the record button with a trembling finger. "What the hell are you doing?" Zachary snarled, trying in vain to shield his naked form with a throw pillow, his face twisted in a mixture of anger and embarrassment. I couldn't bring myself to respond verbally. Instead, I captured every sordid detail on camera, ensuring that I had undeniable proof of their infidelity. The evidence was right there, playing out in front of my eyes, and I felt a sickening mixture of rage and heartbreak. "What the hell is going on here?" I finally managed to choke out, my voice trembling with barely contained fury, as the weight of their betrayal crashed over me like a tidal wave. Lila, still shameless and unapologetic, smirked at me, her eyes cold and devoid of any remorse. "Honey, why don't you join us?" she purred, her tone dripping with mockery and disdain. The suggestion was so revolting, so utterly repulsive, that it snapped something inside me. With a roar of fury that tore from the depths of my soul, I lunged forward and slammed my fist into Zachary's face, feeling a sick satisfaction as his nose cracked under the impact of my knuckles. Blood sprayed across the room, and he howled in pain, clutching his broken nose. "Security!" Zachary shouted, his voice muffled and distorted by the blood gushing from his nostrils. Within moments, 2 burly security guards burst into the room, grabbing me by the arms and hauling me away from the scene. I struggled against their grip, my body flooded with adrenaline and rage, but they were relentless, their faces impassive as they carried out their duty. "You'll regret this, Lila," I spat, ensuring that the video was safely saved on my phone, the only evidence I had against them. "This isn't over. Do you hear me? This isn't over." Zachary stumbled towards me, his eyes filled with rage and blood dripping down his chin. "Give me that phone," he snarled, reaching for the device with his bloody hands. I twisted away, protecting the phone like it was my lifeline, the only shred of proof I had of their despicable actions. This video was the key to exposing their sordid affair and seeking justice, and I wasn't about to let it go, not for anything. With one final shove, the guards pushed me out of the building, leaving me standing on the sidewalk, my heart in shattered pieces. The roses and chocolates lay forgotten on the ground, crushed and trampled underfoot, a bitter reminder of the love and trust that had been so callously betrayed. The drive home was a blur, tears streaming down my face as the weight of Lila's betrayal crushed me. How could she do this to me? To us? After everything we'd been through together? I stumbled through the front door, my vision blurred by rage and heartbreak. Lila's expensive makeup and designer clothes mocked me from every corner of the house, reminders of the life we'd built together. A life that now lay in shattered ruins. You want to feel pain? I growled, snatching up an armful of her belongings and hurling them across the room. I'll show you pain. With a primal roar, I lashed out, destroying everything in sight. Makeup compacts shattered against the walls, dresses ripped to shreds, cherished possessions reduced to rubble. I wanted her to feel the same anguish, the same gaping void that consumed me from the inside out. The sound of the front door opening barely registered amidst my rampage. Marcus? What the hell is going on? Lila stood in the doorway, her eyes widening at the scene of destruction before her. What does it look like? I spat, whirling to face her. I'm destroying everything you hold dear, just like you destroyed our marriage. Are you out of your mind? She shrieked, her face contorting with fury. How dare you touch my things? How dare I? I roared, advancing on her. You're the one who betrayed me, you lying, cheating. The slap cracked across my face, stinging my cheek. Don't you dare call me that. Or what? I sneered, undeterred. You'll go running back to your precious Zachary? Get out of my house, Lila. I never want to see your face again. She opened her mouth, but I cut her off. Get out, now. Without another word, she spun on her heel and stormed out, slamming the door behind her. The next morning, I dialed Riley Carter's number with trembling fingers. Riley, it's Marcus. I need your help. After explaining the situation, Riley agreed to represent me in the divorce proceedings. Don't worry, Marcus. We'll make sure she doesn't get a dime more than she's entitled to. True to his word, Riley filed the papers the next day. When Lila received them, she was livid. You'll regret this, Marcus, she hissed over the phone. I'll make sure you pay for this. Later that evening, my phone rang again. It was Zachary. Delete that video, Larkins, he snarled, or you'll wish you never set foot in my office. I scoffed. Not a chance, Preston. You and Lila are going down for this. You can count on it. His threats fell on deaf ears. I was done being the victim. It was time to fight back. The shrill ringing of my phone jolted me awake in the dead of night. Hello? Mr. Larkins, this is Officer Davis with the Ohio Police Department. I'm afraid there's been a fire at your garage. My blood ran cold. What? No, that's impossible. I stammered, already scrambling to get dressed. Dread coiled in my gut as I raced towards the garage, the flickering glow of flames visible from miles away. By the time I arrived, the building was engulfed, firefighters battling desperately to contain the blaze. No, 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 no. I cried, dropping to my knees as the reality sank in. My life's work, my pride and joy, reduced to ashes before my eyes. As if on cue, my phone buzzed with a new message. Told you, you'll regret this. My hands shook as I remembered the CCTV system. Praying the cameras had survived, I pulled up the cloud footage and felt my stomach lurch. There, clear as day, were Lila and Zachary, dousing the garage in gasoline before tossing a lit match inside. I sank to the ground, overcome with rage and despair. They'd taken everything from me, my wife, my business, my future, but I refused to let them get away with it. In the aftermath of the arson attack, I found myself adrift, unsure of where to turn. Lila and Zachary had money, power, and influence, resources I could only dream of. Taking them on a loan would be a fool's errand. That's when Vivian's face flashed across my mind. We'd dated back in college, before she left for law school on the other side of the country. Our breakup had been amicable, a mutual decision born of the harsh realities of long distance. Still, we'd remained friends, and she was one of the few people I trusted implicitly. With trembling fingers, I dialed her number, my heart pounding in my chest. Marcus. Her voice was laced with concern. Is everything okay? Vivian, I swallowed hard, fighting back the emotion threatening to overwhelm me. I need your help. She listened intently as I recounted the sordid tale, the affair, the video, the arson. By the time I finished, her usually calm demeanor had given way to outrage. Those bastards, she hissed. Don't worry, Marcus. We'll nail them to the wall for this. Despite the gravity of the situation, I felt a glimmer of hope. With Vivian by my side, I stood a fighting chance. Over the next few days, we pored over the evidence, building an airtight case. The video of Lila and Zachary's tryst, the CCTV footage of the arson. It was all there, damning and irrefutable. This is solid, Vivian murmured, her brow furrowed in concentration. They won't be able to wriggle out of this one. I nodded, my jaw set with determination. Good. It's time they paid for what they did. The day of the trial arrived, and Vivian was a force to be reckoned with. She methodically laid out the evidence, her sharp intellect and legal prowess on full display. Your Honor, the evidence is clear, she declared, her voice carrying through the hushed courtroom. Mr. Preston and Ms. Larkins engaged in a sordid affair, betraying the trust of their respective spouses. She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in before continuing. When confronted with the truth, they resorted to violence and intimidation, culminating in the arson attack that destroyed Mr. Larkin's livelihood. Zachary's face was pale, beads of sweat dotting his brow. Lila, ever defiant, simply glared at me with undisguised hatred. One by one, Vivian presented the exhibits, the video, the CCTV footage, the threatening messages. Each piece of evidence was like a nail in their coffin, driving home the gravity of their crimes. In the end, the judge had no choice but to rule in my favor, awarding me substantial compensatory damages for the loss of my garage. But that wasn't all. Lila and Zachary were found guilty of arson, sentenced to lengthy jail terms, and ordered to pay hefty fines. As the bailiffs led them away in handcuffs, I locked eyes with Lila one last time. Her expression was a twisted mask of rage and contempt, but for the first time, I felt no fear, only a sense of closure. In the weeks that followed, Vivian and I grew closer, bonding over our shared triumph and the trials we'd endured. One night, over a celebratory dinner, she broached the subject that had been weighing on my mind. Marcus, there's something I need to tell you, she began, her expression solemn. After the trial, I paid Zachary's wife a visit. My stomach clenched. Amanda? Why? Vivian reached across the table, her hand covering mine. I showed her the video, Marcus. The one of Lila and Zachary together. She deserved to know the truth. I exhaled slowly, nodding in understanding. What did she say? She was grateful, of course, Vivian replied. Devastated, but grateful for the proof. She's filing for divorce. A pang of sympathy twisted in my gut. As much as Zachary and Lila had wronged me, Amanda was an innocent victim in all this, her life shattered by their selfish actions. Good, I murmured. At least some justice has been served. In the months that followed, Lila and Zachary's lives unraveled spectacularly. Their families and friends cut ties, leaving them isolated and disgraced. Their professional reputations lay in tatters, their futures forever tarnished by the weight of their misdeeds. As for Vivian and me, we took things slow, rekindling our connection one day at a time. Marriage wasn't on the table. Not yet, at least. But we savored each other's company, content in the knowledge that we'd weathered the storm together. With the compensatory damages, I rebuilt my garage from the ground up, a testament to resilience and perseverance. Each nail hammered, each tool unpacked, was a step forward, a reclamation of the life that had been so cruelly stolen from me. And through it all, Vivian was by my side, her unwavering support a constant reminder that even in our darkest moments, hope and love can triumph over the deepest betrayals. This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your precious time. If you enjoyed this story, then please make sure you subscribe to this channel. That would help me a lot. Click on the video you see on the screen, and I will see you there.